ওকে 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 ঠিক আছে, মানে ভিডিও অফ করে রাখো, আর কি করবে, আজকে নেটের সমস্যা রয়েছে দেখছি। তো পারবো। Okay. So I am now presenting my entire screen to you. So let's see that we just need a recapitulation. So let's go quickly through the recap. So I go quickly through these recap portions. So before we went out for the puja break, you remember that we discussed about the angular momentum of a rigid body. And in this section, basically, we have calculated the relative angular momentum of the rigid body, which is undergoing an arbitrary space motion. So this is the arbitrary, the space motion represented by this angular velocity. And in this case, we have selected a point O, which is, the specification has been given here like this, that this point O will be either the center of mass of this body, or it will be the point of fixed point of rotation about which this body is rotating. That means either this will be the center of mass of the body, or it will be the point about which this entire rigid body will be rotating about it, right? So these are the 2 points about which I can express the following equations. Although I said that this equation can be applied for any point, I mean to say that the point O need not be a special point like this, provided I can write the relative velocity between these two in a special form. So let us see, for example, if I am trying to calculate the relative angular momentum of this body about point O, I need to have the relative velocity of this mass particle with respect to this point, and the relative velocity of this mass particle with respect to the relative velocity of this mass particle with respect to this point has been expressed by this equation. So this is the equation, this is the equation, the relative velocity equation with respect to point O. This is the thing. Now, as long as you can express the relative velocity between these 2 points in this form, you can apply the resulting equation that we are going to discuss. So if you actually, if you actually you see that if you actually follow the entire procedure, then we said that we get a special form and the relative angular velocity was expressed. The relationship between the absolute angular velocity of the body and the relative angular momentum, that can be expressed by this equation, which ultimately in the tensor, I mean to say in the matrix form, can be represented by this, where the left hand column represents the relative angular momentum vector, and this right hand column, this represents the absolute angular velocity of the body, and these 2 vectors are actually connected by a tensor, a second order tensor, which is nothing but the inertia tensor. And what is important about this equation is that you need to remember this equation has certain limitations where you can apply them. Firstly, you should note that this left hand side represents the relative angular momentum, and this is valid for the point O, which we at the onset we said that it is either the center of mass of the body, or it is the fixed point about which the body will be rotating, or it can be any other point about which I can write the relative velocity between these two between any particle of the body. Say here any particle of the body is this particle, and the point O about which I am going to write the angular momentum equation. Now between these 2 points, if the relative velocity can be expressed in this form, only then I can apply the equation, this particular equation. And third point is that, therefore, you need to remember, I can apply it with respect to a center of mass, I can apply it with respect to a point about which the body is rotating, or about such point about which I can express the relative velocity in that particular form. That means relative velocity of any point on the body and the selected point should be expressible in the form omega bar body cross position vector of that any point with respect to that fixed point, that particular point about which you are writing your momentum equation. So only when these criteria, three criteria are satisfied, you will be able to write this equation. Now, when I am saying that it is relative angular momentum, in the first case, when the point is the center of mass, then you see the relative angular momentum and absolute angular momentum will be all the same. So it is not, therefore, not necessary that you should write here the relative term when the point O is the center of mass. The same conclusion holds good if the point O is a fixed point about which the body is rotating, because if point O is fixed point, then the relative velocity and angular velocity will not make any difference. But when it is any other point other than the center of mass or the fixed point of rotation, it is any other point about which I can write the relative velocity in that form. So in that particular case, you should remember that it should be the relative angular momentum. So actually this represents the relative angular momentum, and this is the absolute angular velocity. So this is the, I should say here, the term should be there that it should be relative angular momentum hyphen absolute angular velocity of the body under consideration. So this is what we stated, and then we came across a very important equation. This is actually the most general form of equation, and we can, you know, that we can safely apply this equation. We can safely apply this equation about any point. So here it is the absolute angular momentum. It is not the relative term. Please note. This is the absolute angular momentum, and this is what is termed as the momentum transport theorem, where actually you know that if I am to calculate, say, suppose a rigid body is being given, and we have been given any point over here, and we have been told to find out this, this rigid body is, it's having certain motion, and we have been told to find out the absolute angular momentum of this rigid body about this point. So in that case, you know that you need not break your head whether this point falls under that category or not. So what you can do, you can safely close your eyes and safely can apply this transport theorem, because this transport theorem is valid for any point, any point. In this case, the point A does not require any kind of specification. It can be any point over here about which you can apply this, the momentum transport theorem. So in this momentum transport theorem, what basically you should find out, firstly you should locate where is your center of mass of the body. Say this you should locate. Then you should calculate the relative angular momentum of this body about the center of mass. Now when it is center of mass, it is immaterial whether I am saying it is relative or absolute. So I say just simply say the angular momentum, and you just simply calculate the, the angular momentum term with respect to the center of mass of the body, So you just calculate the angular momentum about this point, center of mass. So you get this expression h bar c. Then by your kinematics equation, you must calculate what should be the velocity of the center of mass because of the given motion of the body, which is being given to you. So for that given motion, you should calculate what should be your center of mass's velocity, and then you get the corresponding, what is termed as the corresponding linear momentum term. This is the corresponding linear momentum term of the body, and take its moment about this point. So this is the point about which you are writing, and you can find out what should be the absolute angular momentum of this body with respect to this point. As I am reiterating in this case, that this point does not require any kind of specification. So this is the safest equation. You can apply it anywhere with respect to any point. Only thing is this, that you, in this process, you require to find out these two quantities. I mean to say the angular momentum with respect to the center of mass, and also you need to find out the velocity of the center of mass. So this is the thing that we studied. I just quickly recap what we have studied before our puja break, so that we can have the seamless discussion. So next item that we the studied is what is termed as the kinetic energy term. So this is the kinetic energy of a rigid body with which is undergoing an arbitrary space motion. So in this case, the kinetic energy.
Hello, sir.
হ্যাঁ বলো বলো বলো
হ্যাঁ স্যার, বলছি যে এই যে কালো যে টুল বক্সটা আছে না,
হ্যাঁ
এই টুল বক্সটার একদম ডান দিকে যে অপশনটা আছে উপরের দিকে অ্যারো করে, ওইটাতে স্যার
টিপে দিলেও চলে যাবে না?
করলে এইখানে চলে আসবে, উপরে আসবে ওগুলো।
আচ্ছা
উপরে আসবে মানে এই যে ও
উপরে যে এই জায়গাটা
না,
নাকি?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ,
আচ্ছা
এইটা স্যার এগুলো দিয়ে এখানে
আচ্ছা
চলে আসবে, সুবিধা হবে।
আচ্ছা থ্যাংক ইউ আমি ওটা ভাবছিলাম যে ওটা কি করা যায়, টেপা যায় কোথায়। ভেরি গুড, থ্যাংক ইউ ফর ইউর কাইন্ড ইনফরমেশন, থ্যাংক ইউ। আচ্ছা, তাহলে if we continue, so what we say that in the case when we are saying that it is kinetic energy of a rigid body with arbitrary space motion, we noted that this is the kinetic energy, and the basic thing is actually related with your group of particle chapter, where you see the kinetic energy is broken up into two components. One is the translational part of the kinetic energy due to the translational motion of the center of mass, plus the relative term of the kinetic energy, which is nothing but the kinetic energy that the body will possess because of its relative motion, because of all the individual particles relative motion with respect to the center of mass. Of the individual particles means those particles which comprise of your system. So in this case, when that was the situation for the group of particles, so when I extend that relationship to the kinetic for a rigid body, then the summation term is replaced by the continuous integration, and the individual mass is replaced by this differential mass dm, and this is what is the relative velocity of that individual mass particle with respect to the center of mass. So this is the relative velocity term, and since I require the square of the relative velocity, so I need to have a dot product between these two vectors. So if I now do the algebra and all these things, I say that this is the expression for the kinetic energy, expression of the total kinetic energy of a rigid body. Let me just magnify it little. So this is the total kinetic energy, further magnification, yes. So this is the total kinetic energy term that we are getting, and this kinetic energy is consisting of, one is the translational kinetic energy, and another is this rotational kinetic energy. So this, you see, we require to find out the angular momentum of the body with respect to the center of mass, and the absolute angular velocity of the body, and also we need to find out the velocity of the center of mass, and we can express this equation in this form. So this is the general expression. This is the general expression, like the general expression of your angular momentum with respect to a point A, right? That was the general expression. I mean to say this equation. This is the general equation. So like that, this is the general expression for the kinetic energy term. But there are certain, the simplifications of this equation. Firstly, for example, suppose if your rigid body does not have any motion of the center of mass. That means your rigid body is, say, found to be rotating with the center of mass. Then you can drop the first term, of course, and I can write this equation in this format. So that is number one. That is number one. Hello. হ্যাঁ আমি একটু বাদে তোমাকে ফোন করছি, আমি একটু ক্লাসে। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, ওকে ওকে। So what we have, therefore, that we get this this kinetic energy, rotational kinetic energy term from here. This is number one. And number two is, if the body, if say this is the case, the total kinetic energy is expressed, the rotational kinetic energy is expressed in this form. This is the case that I have just now discussed, that if your body is rotating with respect to the center of mass, then you may not have this term, because your center of mass's velocity becomes 0, and you see this is the total kinetic energy of the rigid body. And thirdly, if this is another instance, say if the rigid body rotates about a fixed point, say point O, you remember, about which I can write our relative angular momentum equation. H bar O is equal to the angular momentum vector HO is equal to I times angular velocity vector. And here, if that point O, which was a point about which the body is actually rotating, you see, I can apply this, I can shorten this equation in the sense that, you see, for this term you require to evaluate the center of mass's velocity, right? So you require to evaluate this translational kinetic energy term individually. So in this form, I need not find out the center of mass's velocity. So what we can instead do is, in this case, I need to find out the inertia matrix with respect to point 2. That means about which the body is rotating. So I need to find out the inertia matrix about that point, and then my entire thing will become total pure rotational kinetic energy, and thus I can express, this is the the pure rotational kinetic energy form, right? In terms of the matrix and everything, I can express the pure rotational kinetic energy in this particular format. So the same format can be applied over here. The difference between these two is that here, in this case, your I needs to be calculated with respect to center of mass, right? Suppose, for example, if one decides to apply this equation, then of course this HC, while calculating or while evaluating this angular momentum vector, also you need to calculate your I about the center of mass, correct? So in this case, the difference is that you need not calculate the angular, I mean to say the inertia matrix with respect to the center of mass. What you can do, you now calculate the inertia matrix with respect to the point O. But you have to remember, you have to ensure that this is the point about which your body is rotating. This is a fixed point about which it should be a fixed point. It should not have any velocity, so it should be fixed point. And secondly, the body is found to be rotating about this point too. Now, how you can ensure it? How you can ensure that your body is rotating about point 2? Now that you can, of course, verify that if your angular velocity vector, right? If this angular velocity vector is passing through point O, correct? At all instant, it will be always passing through point O. In that case, you see that you can say, therefore, that your body is rotating about that fixed point. So that you have to very much, be very, very careful. So while writing. Now, why I am saying this? Because if I just go over this problem. Now, this problem, one sec. This problem I discussed before we went for puja break. So this is a unique problem. This problem is unique in the sense, you remember we discussed this problem in detail before in our last class. So this case, you see that this is your body, right? This is your body, the disc. The disc is rotating about the z-axis like this. The disc is rotating about it, correct? And in this case, what happens? So in this case, what happens? The disc is rotating in this fashion, and we see from here, that we have been told to find out the angular momentum about the point A, right? And what is point A? The point A is on the center line of the shaft. Now the shaft is carrying the yoke. The yoke is holding the bearing of the disc about which the disc is rotating. So the point A, although is a fixed point, correct? This is a fixed point because it does not have any velocity, because the shaft is fixed. So inertially, this must be my fixed point, right? Inertially, this is a fixed point. And you know that although it is a fixed point, I cannot apply the equation. I cannot apply this equation. I mean to say, I cannot apply this equation. This equation, although it is mentioned, please remember, although it is mentioned in the very beginning that it can be either a fixed point, but you should say the complete sentence. It is a fixed point about which the body is rotating. So although this point A is a fixed point, yet I find that this body is not actually rotating about this point. How I am doing it? I am getting this conclusion. Now that is very simple. You see this angular velocity which is rotating in this fashion. I think this arrow, yes, this arrow direction was wrong. Please rectify this arrow direction. It should be the other way around. I mean to say it should be this way. It should be this way. It doesn't matter. Actually, you know, of course, the momentum term it will matter, but the energy term it will not matter. So please rectify it in your note khata that this angular velocity is taken positive along capital Y direction. It is not along this. So you see therefore that how I get the conclusion that this rigid body is not rotating about this point. Because you see this rigid body is having two angular velocity components. One is about this z-axis instantaneously at this instant. This xyz, you know, these were fixed at the arm or the yoke at the point C, which carries the bearing. So therefore, as the shaft is rotating in this direction is not correct. So as the shaft is rotating in the just opposite direction, then you see this xyz is changing its orientation. So I therefore say at the instant that is shown over here, your angular velocity of the disc is this way. This is the relative angular velocity term, right? And the bearing's own angular velocity is about this axis, about either say positive y or it's negative y, whatever. Now the resultant of these two should be the absolute angular velocity of this rigid body. And when you see, if you combine these two vectors, one is along this instantaneously along the small z and another is always along the capital Y direction, you see therefore that the resultant of these two is not obviously passing through point A. So although the point A satisfies the fixed point criterion, but it does not satisfy the condition that this body is rotating about this point. So as a result, I cannot apply the angular momentum equation. I cannot simply evaluate I about this point and then I take omega of this body and then make that matrix multiplication. I cannot do it. Then it will be wrong. So then what will happen? I need the safe equation. What is the safe equation? I told you. The safe equation is the the transport theorem of the angular momentum. So what you need to do? Thus, you need to find out the angular momentum of the system. System means here all these are massless objects. So only mass is here only. So you need to find out therefore the system's angular momentum with respect to the center of mass. This is the center of mass naturally of the entire system. If this part and all these parts are having no masses, then of course for the system the center of mass is C. So you need to find out the system's angular momentum about its center of mass. So you calculate hc. Then you additionally need to find out the relative, I need to say the velocity of this, absolute velocity of this point C. So you see here it is a double labor is there, because you are writing the generalized equation. And the generalized equation, the extra thing that you are saying is that you need to find out your center of mass's velocity. And then you need to find out the corresponding linear momentum term. And then you need to take the moment of that linear momentum about this point A. So all this calculation, second part is extra, correct? So you otherwise if you could have said that, say, if this body is, suppose for example, if it is found to be rotating with respect to this point, correct? So in that case, you may not go for finding out all these the velocity of the center of mass, all these things you need not find. What you could have done, you could have found the inertia matrix of this entire system about this point, right? And then you could have straight away applied the equation of the relative angular momentum with respect to the absolute angular velocity of the body, that is h equal to third bracket h equal to second bracket h equal to third bracket I times second bracket omega. So that is the equation, you could have applied it over there. But since it is not satisfying this condition, that this I cannot mathematically show that this body is rotating about this point, I therefore cannot apply this angular momentum term equation, and I have to go and invoke the more the laborious the more lengthy, algebraically lengthy process of the transport of your momentum theorem. So this is a fine point that you should appreciate, and this problem is a very unique problem where you can demonstrate that although the point A is a fixed point, I cannot apply the momentum, short form of the momentum angular velocity equation with respect to this. So this you need to very carefully, observe whenever a problem like this will be given. These problems are like this. This is a, the stereotype problems. All what you have to find is your momentum with respect to some point, and then you will be told to find out the kinetic energy of the entire system. So these are the typical problems from this chapter. So in this chapter, the takeaway points are that you need to find out the inertia matrix term. Inertia matrix term, that means this third bracket I, this inertia matrix. This inertia matrix you need to evaluate with respect to several points. So that how you can do it. Now for that guidance, I have posted a movie of the class, extra class that I alone conducted with myself during the puja vacation and shared the class with you. So please go through those. I solved 3 example problems to show you how you can find out your inertia matrix terms with respect to various axes at various locations of a body. So please solve similar type of problems from your book of Merriam and Craig. But I told you in that class video specifically, that you should find out, you will be finding out these problems in the appendix section of the book, not in the main section, not in the main exercise. He has included those problems. He has included, or they have included these problems in the appendix. So please go to the appendix section and find the problems and solve few problems from there, because that will be very much essential. Otherwise, the subsequent problems, particularly the problems like this, you will not be able to find out. So basically it is nothing but, the judicious applications of the, the transformation of axes. So various transformation of axes you require. Now in today's class, basically we will discuss, now up to this we discussed in our discussed before our puja vacation. So I just have a recapitulation of the entire, say 30 minutes recapitulation of what we had done, say 14 days back. So after this, today I will be discussing two more problems in this class. Two more problems. One sec. I need to align it. One sec. Yeah. So I will be discussing two more problems. So you see, this is second problem. This is the second problem that we are having. Now, what is this problem saying? This problem is saying that we have a vertical shaft. All these problems are collected from the book of Merriam and Craig. You can find it from there. Find them from there. So you see, this is a vertical shaft, right? And this vertical shaft, to this vertical shaft, a rectangular plate of small thickness, very small thickness. Plate, when I'm saying plate, plate obviously means that its thickness is small. So it is a slab-like body. You remember we discussed the slab-like body, all these things in our mass moment of inertia chapter. So that is, you know, the foundation chapter we have. The starting chapter, we discussed all those things. So it is a plate. So we have a rectangular plate, which is, you know, that it is angularly attached to the shaft. Somebody is knocking the door. Shovik Ghosh. Okay. At this point, I like to make an announcement that I had done it also before the initiation of the class, that perhaps you have received the Google form requesting you to write your email addresses and fill that form and submit it to me at the earliest. So next time I will be giving you the invitation to join the class to everyone, right? So that you don't require my permission, knock my door during the class to join me. You can join the class even before I come and join. So you see, therefore, it is therefore very essential that I know all your email addresses. So please fill up the form and post it into your group, WhatsApp group. I will be getting it from there. Okay, please do it today itself. Those who have not yet done. Those who have done, then it's fine. Now, what I have, therefore, we have this vertical shaft and we have an inclined plate which is being rigidly welded to the shaft at point O. So you understand? So if you view it from this side, for example, view it from this side, you can therefore see this is the y-axis, this is the y-axis, this is the z-axis, this is the y-axis, and this is the z-axis. And we have a plate which is, you know, this plate is having an angle with respect to the shaft. The shaft is vertical. It is not that this shaft is perpendicular to the plane of this face, right? It is not perpendicular. From this view, it looks like that the shaft is, you know, the perpendicular to this plate, but it is not, because you see this angle is mentioned here. The 45-degree angle is mentioned. So how you will be getting it? So if you view it from the front, you see the front view will show this x-axis as a point, and then you will see this plate as an edge. This is the edge view of the plate. This is the edge view of the plate. So this is your plate, and the plate, and this is the center line of this vertical shaft. This is the center line of the vertical shaft, and the plate is making an angle with respect to the vertical, and the plate is rigidly welded to this shaft at point O. So what we have been asked here, you see, and this entire thing is rotating. So you can therefore say that this problem is a lot simpler than the previous problem, problem 1. Problem 1, we had two motions. One, the disc is having some relative angular velocity and the shaft is having some other angular velocity. But in this case, since your plate is directly welded to the shaft, this plate is directly welded to the shaft, so there is no chance that the plate will have any this relative angular velocity. So the plate cannot rotate. So it has to rotate along with the shaft itself. So this is the assembly, correct? Now this type of thing, you know, this type of thing you will find, this is sometimes known as the swash plate mechanism. It's called swash plate mechanism. Of course, in swash plate mechanism, this angular tilt can be varied. That means there the connection is not welding. Here it is being welded, means this 45-degree angle is always fixed. But in real swash plate kind of arrangement, this angular tilt can also be varied. That means this plate can have an angular velocity with respect to the x-axis, right? With respect to this x-axis, this plate can have the angular velocity in the limited range. You can say angular oscillation. So this is what is termed as the swash plate. And in real swash plate, what happens? A rod is connected vertically to it. So as the plate tilts its angular, changes its angular tilting, this vertical rod can move up and down. So this kind of mechanisms are found in case of helicopter blades. So in helicopter blades, the overhead blades that you are having, the helicopter or chopper, you see these overhead blades, these blades can be, their angular positions can be tilted, they can be varied, it can be moved up and down, something like that. That flapping can be changed. So all these things are done with the help of a mechanism which is known as the swash plate mechanism. This swash plate mechanism, apart from the helicopter rod, you can also find it in case of some positive displacement pump, some positive displacement pumps also, the variable discharge type pumps, all this, the hydraulic machineries about which you will be going to learn in this semester or maybe in the coming semester. I really do not know whether you will be having hydraulic machines in this same. So all this about this, the variable discharge pump and this, what is called this positive displacement pumps, about them you will be learning in your fluid machinery class. So all those pumps will be having these swash plate mechanisms. And we are actually, it's not really the swash plate, because I said that in the swash plate, this angular tilt can be varied, but in our case, it's a fixed swash plate, you can say. So what I'm saying, Kina, if now this assembly is rotating about this z-axis, which is of course fixed z-axis, what we have been asked to find out is that if this rectangular plate is having a mass 3 kg and it is uniform, small thickness, etc., etc., vertical shaft, then we have to calculate these two things. That means we need to find out this angular momentum about point O and of course the kinetic energy of the system. As I told you that this type of problems is a stereotype problem. I mean to say the problem can be, the figure can be variable, but the question is stereotype. You need to find out these two things. Now, in order to solve this problem, what we are doing, we are taking some axis. Now, because you see, this is a rectangular plate and these inertia terms are actually not known with respect to, you see, this small y, small z, or it can be capital Y, capital Z also. This small y, small z axis, you see this, about them, the inertia terms are not known. So what you therefore see, therefore, that I fix up a coordinate system. I fix up a coordinate system x dash, y dash, z dash, correct? So this is the coordinate. These are the three coordinates. I fix it up at point O to the plate itself. So as the shaft is rotating, these axes are also rotating. These axes are also rotating. Now, with respect to only thing, this capital, this Z, this is only aligned along inertial direction. It is always vertical. So this direction is always vertical. So this Z can be capital Z. Eventually, this capital Z and small z, they share, at this instant, they share the same direction. So therefore, you see that you have thus three axes, x dash, y dash, and z dash. These three axes are taken because these are the natural axes, because I know the inertia terms of this rectangular plate about these three axes only. I cannot find out the inertia terms about y-axis and z-axis because these are inclined to the plate. So what we therefore need to do is, this we can do the problem, since we have been told to find out the angular momentum vector, so it is imperative that you need to find out, express your answer in terms of the given axis. So please note, our given axes are small x, small y and small z, not small deck, x dash, y dash and z dash, right? These are your given axes. So what you need to find out is the angular momentum vector about these three sets of axes. But what we are doing, we are selecting some other axis. Of course, our given axis x and our selected axis x dash, they will be same because they are both coming out from the plane of the paper. So both will be remaining the same. I mean to say the y cross z is x as well as y dash cross z dash is also equal to x dash, which is equivalent to x. So what we do therefore, I first of all, calculate the entire thing with respect to these x dash, y dash and z dash axes, because these are the axes about which the inertia terms are known. So I first calculate the angular momentum vector with respect to these three sets of axes, and then we transform them to small x, y, z axis. So what I can therefore say, I can therefore find out, this angular velocity term is thus decomposed, because we are going to find out, x dash, y dash and z dash. So what we are therefore see, this omega angular velocity vector, which is always, remaining vertical up. So it is resolved along this y dash axis and z dash axis. And of course, since it is rotating about z axis only, the angular velocity component about the x axis is 0. So it is omega x dash also equal to omega x. So that term is 0. So this is therefore the absolute angular velocity vector. And now I individually find out the inertia terms. I x dash will be like this, y dash will be like this, I z dash will be like this. So these are, the standard results which are known for our plate, rectangular plate. So these results are known, 1 by m by 12 into the length squared, etc., etc. And this is the perpendicular axis theorem. Because it is plate, the perpendicular axis theorem is valid. This is another important thing I like to reiterate, that if the body is an extended body, then the perpendicular axis will not be valid, right? The perpendicular axis theorem is valid only for the case when the direction is very, very small, right? So the z direction is very small. If only this criteria is satisfied, then only I can write this perpendicular axis theorem about that axis. So I just find out these inertia terms from there. And also I note that all the product moment of inertia terms are 0. Because you see this x dash, y dash and z dash axis for the rectangular plate are the principal axis of inertia. Correct? So all the product moment of inertia terms are 0. Why they are principal axis of inertia? Because your rectangular plate is consisting of two sets of planes of symmetry, or you have two lines of symmetry in a rectangular plate. So that's why, all your product moment terms will be 0. We discussed all, when under what condition the product moment of inertia can be 0. All terms will be 0. Already we discussed in our the moment of inertia chapter, foundation chapter. So you see, therefore, I just find out the angular momentum vector, but you need to remember that this what we are doing is, found with respect to your x dash, y dash and z dash axis. So either you can do this matrix multiplication, just as I have shown here, or else you can do the vector multiplication as well. That means you can express this vectorially, right? And then straight away you can do this vector formulation. Here I have done in the matrix format so that you can understand in a better way. And thus you see, therefore, your ultimate answer consists of 1, 0, then this 0.444, then 2.221. And you must be mentioning about its unit. Since I am talking about the mass moment of inertia, the SI system, the unit is kg meter square. Now it clearly shows that your x component is 0, so it does not have any x component or x dash component, so to say. So this is your angular momentum vector expressed in terms of x dash, y dash and z dash axis. But you remember that we have been told to find it out with respect to the x, y and z axis. So what we will do, I mean to say this x, y and z axis, correct? So what we have to do? We have to simply apply the transformation theorem. This T stands for the transformation matrix. So you need to therefore consider you need to rotate this x dash, y dash, z dash axis with respect to the x dash axis, so that this comes and get aligned with your x, y and z axis. So from this axis to this axis. So from this axis erokom theke ei. So you need to rotate in the clockwise direction, and you need to remember that if you try to rotate it in the clockwise direction, you need to calculate carefully your direction cosine terms, because your transformation matrix consists of all the directions that you are getting. So since your x-axis remains the same, so your direction, is getting like this. So these are your direction cosines for x-axis. This is for your y-axis. This is for your z-axis. Because you require to find out the direction cosines of the lines about which you are going to transform. So it means, since you are trying to get the x, y and z axis from x dash, y dash and z dash axis, so you need to find out the direction cosines of the lines x, y and z with respect to x dash, y dash and z dash. So this is you need to be very precise, otherwise it will be a problem. So you need to therefore find out the direction cosines. I'm repeating once again, I need to find out the direction cosines of the lines x, y and z with respect to x dash, y dash and z dash, right? So therefore these terms are nothing but, this is the direction cosine, the rows are all the direction cosines. So the first row showing you the direction cosines of the line x with respect to x dash, y dash, z dash. Then this is showing you the direction cosines of the line y with respect to x dash, y dash and z dash. And lastly, this will be the direction cosines of the line z, oz, with respect to the axis ox dash, y dash and oz dash, correct? So therefore you need to carefully fill up the terms of the transformation matrix here, otherwise your thing will be wrong. And you have, these are your angular velocity components. So therefore if you do it, sorry, just a moment. So if you do it, so your angular momentum terms have been evaluated. You are seeing upside down, okay? So if you expand this, this angular momentum expression, you will be getting, this is your angular momentum expression. If you do this multiplication and all, you are finding this is your angular momentum term. So this is your angular momentum term finally that you are getting, right? So in terms of j and k components, this is one way of solving the problem. There is another way. Let us discuss that another way here. Just a moment, I align it here. So the other way is what you see. So one way is finding out this transformation matrix and doing this transformation of all these things. The other way of doing is what you see. Come to here. You see, a vector whose this component and this component are known. So you have these two vectors, the angular momentum vector, for which these two components, because you see we have found the angular momentum this way. So j dash and k dash components are known. So you have found one component here, another component there. So what you need to find out the component of these two vectors, the resultant of these two vectors about x, y, and z. Naturally, this, since these two components are only in the plane, they do not, the resultant also do not have any, does not have any x component, right? So only thing, I need to transform these two components about these two axes. So what you can do, you can take cos of this. So take this vector, I mean to say here, how much was the numerical? 0.444. So you see, you can take 0.444, and this angle will be also 45 degrees. So it will be 0.444 cos 45 degree minus, because this vector is this way, so it will be, how much is this? 2.221. So you can therefore say 0.444 cos 45 degree minus 2.221 sin 45 degree. Cos 45, sin 45, it's all the same. But you should take the proper angles. So you see, this is 45 degree, means this is 45 degree. So therefore, you see, therefore, that you need to take the components of these two vectors about y-axis. So your answer will be, in the z direction, it will be 0.444 cos 45 degree minus 2.221 sin 45 degree. Correct? So naturally, the y angular momentum term will be minus. And what about z? Z will be both plus, and therefore you can say it will be 0.444 cos 45 degree, or rather you can say it is sin 45 degree. 0.444 cos 45 degree or sin 45 degree plus 2.221 cos 45 degree. Actually, it should be sin, it should be cos. If it is not 45 degree, suppose if it is, the angle is 30 degree, I do not get that advantage of cos and sin will be same. So you need to take properly what is cos, what is sin. So since this angle is 45 degree, okay, I am actually safe. Whether I write cos or sin, it will not matter. But if the angle is other than 45 degrees, say 60 degree, 30 degree, 15 degree, or whatever angle being given to you, then you have to be very alert that cos or sin which is coming. So in this case, therefore, both the z component will be plus, because both of them will be having positive components. So our final answer must be having zero angular momentum in the x direction, zero angular momentum in the x direction, y angular momentum term will be negative. You see, this y angular momentum term is coming out negative, and z angular momentum is turning out to be positive. So either you can do it in that way, or you can do it the matrix transformation. I showed here the matrix transformation to give you some insight, because some problems may require this kind of methodology. You may not be having the advantage of plain components like this here and get your answer very quietly. So I showed therefore a general procedure, so that if a 3D problem, real 3D shot is being given to you, then you need not worry about transforming your result from one set of axes to another set of axes. So you can therefore find out what should be your angular momentum term. Right. So the angular momentum vector is expressed in x, y, and z components. And then we have been asked to find out the kinetic energy of the plate system. The plate is having a mass of 3 kg. So it is now simple. The kinetic energy, because you are getting only the rotational motion, no translational motion of the center of mass, right? Because your center of mass is on the axis of rotation, so you don't have any translational motion of the center of mass. So it is simply the dot product of the angular velocity vector with the angular momentum vector. Now I use this h bar o in this definition, because the angular velocity vector is just having the k cap component, right? Had I used this description of the angular momentum in y dash and z dash term, then I would have taken the angular velocity components also. You see, these angular velocity components in y dash and z dash terms are like this. So you have the complete vector cross product, a dot product. But here, if I take this one, then it is simple because your angular velocity vector is just k cap. So I only require this term. This term will be totally absent from my case, and you should be having it is 59.19 joule. Now I would ask you at your home, you must verify. I would ask you at your home, you must verify. Suppose if you would have taken your angular momentum vector like this and your angular velocity vector like this, and you would have taken the dot product, then also you should be getting the kinetic energy. And I would ask you to verify that the kinetic energy that you will be getting by taking the dot product of this vector with the dot product of this vector, your answer and the answer that we finally got, they are same. So I will be asking you to verify at home by yourself, correct? So this is how you will be getting, and don't forget the unit. The unit here will be surely joule. So this is how I can get the kinetic energy term from here. So this part is done. So now we are left with problem number, the last problem. Now in this problem, this is another complicated problem. So this problem shows a system. Let us explain the system first. See, all the remaining terms here are all massless. These links and all these are massless. So you have a disk here, a thin circular disk, right, of mass m, radius r, etc. Those things are being given, and this disk is attached with a yoke. So this is the yoke, like our problem 1. Remember our problem 1? This was vertical. In this case, it is horizontal. Problem 1, the disk was vertical. Go to the problem 1 figure. This was your problem 1 figure. This was your problem 1 figure. It was vertical. Rotate korai arki. So it was vertical, then yoke, and the yoke is directly connected to the shaft. So in this case, what happens? You come to this problem, the same yoke is there. It is directly connected to the shaft. So it is almost like problem 1. Almost. Only difference is that this time your yoke is also having an angular velocity. That means the yoke is not directly connected to this shaft. It is connected to the bearing. It is connected to the bearing. This is the bearing. This is the bearing. And the bearing is, in a way, the bearing housing or journal is basically connected to this shaft. So what happens therefore, the yoke can independently rotate with respect to the vertical shaft with an angular velocity omega 1. So if I make omega 1 0, then this problem will be reduced to problem 1, right? So you need to critically analyze your geometry of the problem. So you see, you can have the similarity. So now what you are having like your problem 1, your main shaft was rotating. So here also the main shaft is rotating with an angular velocity omega 2. Then you have the disk rotating with an angular velocity of p in this bearing, and the bearing, the yoke which is carrying the bearing of this disk is itself turning with respect to x-axis, and the angular velocity is omega 1. So given all these geometries, what we have been asked to find out is the angular momentum with I told you about the stereotype question. I have been asked to find out, we have been asked to find out the angular momentum about the point O. Again, please note, this point O is inertially fixed, right? This point O is inertially fixed, but in this case, can we say that this is a case of, the rotation about a fixed point? So you see, if you look at the thing carefully, if you look at the geometry, what will happen, you see from here, you see these this disk is now having 3 angular velocity components. Unlike the problem 1, it was having 2 velocity components. Now it is having this P, then this omega 1, and then this omega 2. Because this P is about
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello. Connectivity.
Hello, sir. Hello.
স্যার এটাও নড়ছে না
স্যার ইন্টারনেট কানেকশন মনে হয় বন্ধ হয়ে গেছে
মনে হচ্ছে তো ফোন করবো নাকি
না রে, এই সময় কল করার দরকার নেই, 1 মিনিট ওয়েট কর।
স্যার কি আমাকে ডাকছিল?
না না, তোকে ডাকছিল না, ওই স্যার আসলে তুই যে গুগল ফর্মটা বানিয়েছিস ওইটা যাতে সবাই যাতে ফিল আপ ওটা করে নেয় সেটাই আর কি সবাইকে একবার জানালো স্যার।
আরে
কিছু
এখনো
বলেনি।
পর্যন্ত ও দেখেছি স্যার বেরিয়ে গেল।
কতজন বাকি আছে রে? স্যার আবার ঢুকবে
35 জন হয়েছে, এখনো আরো তো 9 জন বাকি আছে।
35 জন হয়েছে মাত্র 35?
কি হলো?
আচ্ছা, আমাদের তো স্টুডেন্ট আছে তো 42 মনে হয়।
কেন?
অনার্স বি সেকশন।
কি হচ্ছে? কি
হ্যালো
হচ্ছে?
স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, বলো।
শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
হ্যাঁ আচ্ছা
স্যার, হুট করে আপনার এটা প্রেজেন্টেশনটা অফ হয়ে গেছিল আর আওয়াজটাও শুনতে পাচ্ছিলাম না।
এখন কি পাচ্ছো?
এখন ঠিক আছে স্যার, এখন ঠিক আছে। এখন
ইয়েস স্যার, ঠিক আছে স্যার, কন্টিনিউ করুন স্যার।
ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ। হ্যাঁ, কোনো রকম সমস্যা হলে সঙ্গে সঙ্গে বলবে আমাকে। So you see therefore that we have these two terms, I mean to say this vector
স্যার
প্রেজেন্টেশনটা অন নেই স্যার, স্ক্রিনটা অন নেই স্যার।
ও আচ্ছা,
স্যার স্ক্রিনটা প্রেজেন্ট করুন।
হ্যাঁ, ওকে। ও বোধহয় আমি কোনো কোথাও একটা মাউসে বোধহয় ক্লিক পড়ে গেছিল। ওকে, অফ হয়ে গেছিল। এবার দেখতে পাচ্ছ সবাই?
ইয়েস স্যার।
Okay. So you see these two angular velocity vectors, I mean to say P and omega 1, the sum of these two is going through point B, but the sum of P and omega 1 along with omega 2, they are not going through point 2. You understand? I can sum this P and omega 1 and that will be, this say in this plane, I mean to say in the plane of you see Z, capital Z, O, small z. In this plane, the sum of this vector, A vector plus this vector, the resultant will be in this plane. And then the other vector is in perpendicular to that plane. So surely the resultant of this one and this one will not be going through the point 2. So I therefore cannot consider that this body is turning about point 2. So again, I cannot apply the shortcut angular momentum theorem in finding out this h bar O, although the point O is a fixed point. So again, this is a word of caution. So what I need to do, therefore, I need to apply the transport theorem. So what I need to do, therefore, I need to calculate the angular momentum of the system about its center of mass. Then I need to calculate the center of mass's velocity. Then I need to calculate the momentum, linear momentum of the system. Then I need to calculate the moment of that linear momentum with respect to point O, and then finally add vectorially the relative angular momentum term with the moment of linear momentum term as per the momentum transport theorem. Right? So this should be our algorithm to solve this problem. So what we do therefore, first I therefore calculate, our first objective will be therefore to calculate the angular momentum with respect to the center of mass. So in doing it, I should be requiring the absolute angular velocity of the disk. So what I do therefore, I find the absolute angular velocity of the disk. It will be P capital K cap, P small k cap, P small k cap, because x, y, z are rigidly connected to point B. which is the, the Yoc. So it is pk cap plus omega 1 minus I cap, because it is turning like this, and then finally omega 2 capital J cap. Now since at this instant I align all of them right along this direction, so I transfer all our the unit vectors in terms of the instantaneous coordinate axis. I mean to say small x, small y, and small z. So having done this, I have minus omega 1 I cap plus omega 2 j cap plus pk cap. That means you see this capital J and small j, they are made to be equal with respect to each other. So naturally our omega 1, it will be the, if you write it in the matrix form, so it will be expressed, the vector is expressed in this manner. So I find out the B here, it's representing the center of mass. B is the center of mass here. So H bar C, jetake amra C bolchilam, that point C is now B here in this problem. So I need to see this H bar B should be equal to IB omega B. Now it's good to write this point here to just to give you the emphasis that you need to calculate the inertia matrix of the entire system with respect to the point B. So for the disk, it is very simple. IB is very simple. It is something like this, and you can therefore write your momentum of the center of masses momentum, in this manner. Correct? So one part is done. Now comes finding out the linear velocity of the center of mass. So the linear velocity will be due to what? It will not be affected by t, so it will be due to omega 2, because omega 2 will move this point B along a horizontal circle of radius b, right? And then of course you will be having this omega 1, because of that also we will be having, now because of this omega 1 is not making any motion with respect to point B, because, sorry, I didn't notice it. This omega 1 is actually passing through point B. So point B is on the omega 1 axis. So entire motion of B will be due to this omega 2 only. This omega 1 is not affecting anything to point B, because point B is lying on the axis of rotation of omega 1. Correct? No? So therefore, point B's linear velocity will be due to only omega 2. And I can therefore say that this is the velocity of the point B, or the center of masses velocity. And again, if I do and express my result in terms of your instantaneous coordinate axis, so that will be our velocity of point B. That's done. So what we invoke our angular momentum transport theorem. Now I have the angular momentum known at this point. I know the linear momentum of the system at this point. So I need to transfer these two terms to point O. That will give me the absolute angular momentum with respect to point O. Though it does not make a sense, because O is a fixed point here. So since it is fixed point, it does not have any velocity. So the relative velocity and angular velocity will be the same for a fixed point. But what I like to say, suppose some further extension is being given, some rod is connected like this, say in this manner. A rod goes and it's coming like this, coming out, and parallel to z-axis it is coming like this. Now here some point is being given, and you are told to find out the angular momentum of the entire system with respect to this point. Now of course this point is not a fixed point, right? So if I extend this Yoc beyond this portion and then bend it horizontally parallel to capital Z axis, and I take a point over here, then you see, because of your omega 1, because of your omega 2, this point will be having some velocity, right? And since this point is having velocity, so now I can calculate the relative angular momentum. I can only calculate the relative angular momentum with respect to this point. Correct? Now, so what I therefore need to do is I can take the point over here and can apply our momentum about this momentum equation about this point and get the result of the angular momentum with respect to this. But since this point O is a fixed point here, it doesn't matter whether it is the relative term or the angular moment, the absolute term, it does not matter over here. So I simply just, calculate the angular momentum equation, transport theorem, and then carry out the religiously carry out our vector multiplication, and I get this will be the equation for the angular momentum of the entire system about point O. Now that is done. Now we have to find out the kinetic energy of the system. Now, if this would have been the case of rotation about this point, then what would have been the situation? I have found already the angular momentum, right? So what I could have done is take the angular velocity vector, take the dot product of that angular velocity vector with this angular momentum. Half of it would have given me the kinetic energy of the system. But in this case, we cannot apply this theorem. Why? Why we cannot apply? Again, because it is not the case of rotation about this point. So what we need to do? Again, we need to calculate the kinetic energy with respect to the center of mass. And then we need to take into account the translational kinetic energy of the disk because of the velocity of v. And then separately find out these two energy components. I mean to say the translational energy and the rotational energy. Separately we need to find these two terms and add them together to find out the total kinetic energy of the equation. So accordingly, what I will be doing is, you see, therefore, accordingly what I am doing, so you see, just I make it little smaller, 100%. So you see, kinetic energy of the system will be calculated by using this equation, half mv square plus this. This is what I am just now talking about. And then this, this rotational kinetic energy, because the rotational kinetic energy is expressed this way. So I can write this expression, the dot product of these two vectors. Since t rotation, you can write it this way or you can write it this way, because this is the matrix representation of the vector dot product, or it is simply the two vectors are taking the dot scalar product. So what I do, therefore, I find out, take the angular momentum with respect to the center of mass. Please note, it is not with respect to this point. Then it will be wrong. So what you do, you take the angular momentum with respect to the center of mass, take the dot product of this angular momentum with the angular velocity, absolute angular velocity, half of it, then will give you the rotational kinetic energy, and the translational kinetic energy can be directly found from the velocity of the center of mass. We have already found the velocity of center of mass over here. This is the velocity of the center of mass. So therefore this will be the translational kinetic energy term. And now if I add these two, take this, and if I add and then algebraically collect and simplify all these terms, you see this will be the ultimate kinetic energy of the system. So you see that if you make in this equation, if you make all your omega 1 to be 0, right, make your omega 1 to be 0 here. So all the expressions that you are getting, make just omega 1 0. You will be getting the result for problem number 1. Similarly here as well, if you make omega 1 0, you will be getting the result of problem number 1, because both the problems will have the same geometry. Only thing, your dimension here is expressed as v, there it could be some other notation, but the basic geometry remains the same. Of course, that problem was in vertical plane and this problem is in horizontal. The disk is aligned along, the previous one, the disk center was, the yoke was vertical, sorry, the yoke was vertical. In this case, the yoke is horizontal. That's the difference, but other things remaining the same. You can make your omega 1 0 and reduce your problem 3 to problem 1 and get your things. So students, I take 3 problems to explain you the basic, the philosophy of this chapter. Now in this chapter, as I am again telling you, that in this chapter basically you will be given several geometries, maybe different geometries will be given. I tried to show you the different types of geometries, one simple problem, one little bit complicated, and third one is more complicated. So you see, I took these 3 problems in this manner and tried to show you the application and concept. And in this case, from this chapter, the questions are of stereotypes. You need to find out angular momentum with respect to certain point, and then you need to find out the kinetic energy of the whole thing. And you see therefore that if you just solve those problems, you will be getting a better grip on the concept.
Sir,
বলো
স্যার বলছিলাম এইরকম বডির অ্যাপ্লিকেশনটা কোথায় হয়, মানে এই লাস্ট
এগুলো ডিফারেন্ট, ইটস এ ভেরি গুড কোয়েশ্চেন। এগুলো কি হয়, ডিফারেন্ট রোবোটিক আর্মস থাকে না, সেই রোবোটিক আর্মতে থাকে। কখনো কখনো ধরো এরোপ্লেন ল্যান্ডিং গিয়ার মেকানিজম থাকে, ডিফারেন্ট মেকানিজমস আর দেয়ার, যেখানে তুমি টুকরো টুকরো করে এরকম ধরনের সিস্টেমকে ইউ ক্যান আইডেন্টিফাই। Right, you can identify this. Say for example, this can be the case of the aeroplane landing gear. This can be the nose wheel. এটাকে যদি তুমি মানে vertical, say if you give a 90-degree rotation, the whole thing comes like this. This shaft becomes horizontal. Then this wheel will become, it will come down, and it will become a aeroplane. ওই এরোপ্লেনের সামনে যে nose wheel থাকে, সেই nose wheel, it will become the case of nose wheel. And you see these nose wheels are rotating. তুমি যদি কখনো দেখো এরোপ্লেন রিট্রাকশন হয়, মানে ফ্লাই করবার পরে আফটার টেকিং অফ the whole thing needs to be rotated, and this needs to be taken into its system. এটাকে ফোল্ডিং করে দেয়। So these types of mechanisms are there in various engineering applications. You will be getting it. Not that I can cite any specific application. There can be, the variety of applications. So one very important application is, of course, the robotic manipulators. Different robotic arms are there, and you will see that in your robotics and robotics class, kinematics and robotics class, you will find that there will be different type of robotic arm manipulators, which will be having different type of motions by itself. And to describe the motions of those robotic arms, you need to analyze your equation this way. Understand?
Thank you, sir.
These are some of the things that these are some of the things that where you can have the applications of this type of mechanisms. তাহলে আমরা, if you have any question, feel free to ask me. And I like to tell you once again যে আমি যে ভিডিওটা, ক্লাসের ভিডিওটা পোস্ট করেছি পুজোর ছুটিতে তোমাদেরকে, প্লিজ please go through that class video.